Almost every product you buy has one of the most powerful little designs in modern life printed somewhere on it. It is just a few black lines in a row of numbers, but that tiny pattern helped turn shopping from a slow manual process into a fast digital system. The strange part is that most people see barcodes all the time without really knowing what they do. Many people think a barcode contains the price, but usually it does not. It is mostly an ID tag for a product, and that small detail changed retail forever. A barcode is one of those inventions that feels too ordinary to be interesting, right up until you look closer. It sits quietly on cereal boxes, medicine packages, shipping labels, books, and supermarket items. It does not look impressive. It does not move. It does not light up. But once stores could scan products instead of typing everything by hand, checkout became faster, mistakes dropped, inventory got easier to track, and businesses could link physical items to computer systems in real time. That is a huge change from a pattern most people barely notice. What a barcode actually is at the simplest level, a barcode is a machine-readable pattern. In the classic one-dimensional version, the pattern is made from dark bars and light spaces arranged in a specific order. Those patterns represent numbers that a scanner can read and a computer can process. In a typical retail UPC barcode, the code identifies the product and its maker. The price is usually stored in the store's computer system, not inside the barcode itself. That is why the same product can sell for different prices in different stores even though the barcode is the same. That also explains the numbers printed underneath the bars. They are not just decoration. They are there so a human can type the code manually if the scanner cannot read it. So the barcode is really a bridge between a physical object and a digital record. The black lines are not the whole system. They are the key that unlocks the product information in a database. Before barcodes, to understand why barcodes mattered so much, it helps to imagine a supermarket before them. Large stores had already become common, but checkout was still slower and more manual. Products needed price stickers, cashiers had to enter information by hand, and inventory tracking was much harder. As stores grew larger and carried more items, that old system became more painful. The grocery industry wanted a way for machines to identify products quickly and reliably. That need pushed people to search for something like the barcode long before it became normal. The origin story, the early story of the barcode, goes back to the late 1940s. Historians generally credit Bernard Silver and Norman Joseph Woodland with the original idea after a supermarket-related problem sparked the search for a better checkout system. Woodland and Silver later patented an early barcode concept, but the road from idea to everyday use was much longer than most people realize. The first designs were not exactly the neat rectangular barcode people now recognize. Some early work involved circular or bull's-eye style codes because they seemed easier to scan from different angles. That is one reason the barcode story is more interesting than it first appears. The final version was not obvious from the start. There were competing designs, technical limits, and printing problems. A code is only useful if it can be read quickly, printed cheaply, and survive real store conditions. Smudges, wrinkles, odd surfaces, and imperfect packaging could all ruin the system. So the challenge was not only inventing a code. It was inventing a code that industry could actually live with. The breakthrough that made it real, the big modern turning point, came in the early 1970s. According to GS1's historical timeline, industry leaders in the U.S. grocery sector created the barcode in 1973, and the Uniform Code Council was appointed to manage the new Universal Product Code System in 1974. Smithsonian's History of the Barcode explains that IBM's rectangular design, associated with George Laurer's work, beat rival systems and helped create the version that stores could use at scale. Then came the moment that made history. On June 26, 1974, at a Marsh supermarket in Ohio, a pack of Wrigley's gum became the first product scanned with a barcode in a real retail setting. That event now sounds small, but it marked the beginning of a huge shift. A simple gum pack became the first proof that a new kind of shopping system could work in everyday life. How scanners read those black lines. So how does a barcode scanner actually read the code? The basic idea is simple. Dark bars reflect less light, and light spaces reflect more. A scanner shines light and detects the changing pattern of reflected light as it moves across the code. The scanner converts that pattern into an electrical signal, and the computer decodes it into numbers. Britannica describes barcode reading as an optical scanning process, which is why the contrast between dark and light matters so much. In everyday language, you can think of it like a very fast light-based reading system. The scanner is not understanding the product the way a person does. It is only recognizing a specific pattern and turning that pattern into data. Once the system has that data, software can connect it to a product name, a price, a supplier, a stock count, or whatever else the store has attached to that code. That is why the barcode itself feels small, but the system behind it feels powerful. Why barcodes changed stores so much. Barcodes did more than speed up checkout. They helped stores become more organized and more data-driven. Once products could be identified quickly and consistently, stores could track sales more accurately, monitor inventory more closely, and reduce some forms of manual error. That mattered not only at the register, but also in warehouses, shipping systems, and restocking. A barcode turned each item into something a computer could count, trace, and connect to larger business systems. This is why the barcode belongs in the same category as many quiet infrastructure inventions. It did not change life by being dramatic. It changed life by removing friction. Fewer manual steps meant less delay, fewer mistakes, and more useful data. That makes the barcode a perfect example of everyday engineering. It is not flashy, but once it exists, people build entire systems around it. The myth that the barcode contains the price. One of the most useful things to explain in this topic is the common myth that the barcode stores the price. Usually, it does not. In a UPC system, the code mainly identifies the manufacturer and the product. The store's computer looks up the rest. That is why stores can change prices without changing the printed barcode on the package. This small point is great for a video because it surprises viewers and immediately makes the whole system easier to understand. You can think of the barcode like a name or account number, not like a full product biography. It says, in effect, I am this item. Then the computer pulls the matching record. That record may include the price, promotional discounts, tax treatment, inventory data, or supplier information. The bars are the label. The database does the heavy lifting. Why the design stayed so simple. Part of the barcode's brilliance is that it stayed visually simple. It had to be cheap to print, small enough to fit on packaging, and reliable enough for real-world use. That is one reason the rectangular bar design became so powerful. It was practical. It worked with printing technology, packaging, and scanners in a way that scaled across huge numbers of products. Sometimes the best inventions do not win because they are the most exciting. They win because they are the most usable. And that simplicity helped the barcode spread far beyond grocery stores. Once industries saw that machine-readable labels could save time and reduce errors, similar systems spread into logistics, healthcare, warehousing, libraries, and manufacturing. The barcode became part of the hidden language that lets physical goods move through digital systems. Why barcodes still matter now? It might be tempting to think barcodes are old technology that is getting replaced. But the reality is more like evolution than disappearance. GS1 says over 1 billion products now carry GS1 barcodes, and those barcodes are scanned billions of times every day around the world. That means the barcode is not some outdated leftover. It is still one of the most widely used identification tools in daily commerce. What is changing is the move toward newer two-dimensional codes. GS1 says 2D barcodes such as QR code and GS1 data matrix can hold a product ID plus added details like expiry dates or serial numbers. GS1's timeline also says the industry is working toward the ability to read 2D barcodes at retail points of sale around the world by the end of 2027. So the story is not that the barcode is dying. The story is that the barcode is growing up. Barcode versus QR. In simple terms, a classic barcode is usually one-dimensional, which means it mainly stores data across a single horizontal line of bars and spaces. A QR code is two-dimensional, so it can store more information in a smaller square pattern. That is why QR codes can do things like open a website or carry more detailed data. But the ordinary striped barcode still makes sense for many retail uses because it is familiar, fast, and deeply built into store systems. The original barcode solved the first big problem, helping machines recognize products quickly. Newer codes are solving the next problem, linking products to richer digital information. So the black stripes on a cereal box and the square QR code on a package are really part of the same long story. The barcode is a perfect everyday info topic because it hides a massive story inside something people barely notice. It began as an answer to a checkout problem, became a standard that changed retail, and then grew into part of the global language of products, supply chains, and digital records. Most of the time, it is not telling a scanner the price. It is simply telling the system which product it is looking at. But that simple act made modern shopping much faster, cleaner, and smarter. So the next time you see those plain black lines on a package, it is worth remembering that they are not just packaging clutter. They are one of the quiet designs that helped build modern everyday life.